Wow, the Focus SAM², what an incredible looking bike. Now, this particular bike belongs to Olly Wilkins, and we're gonna have a look at some of the detail because this bike gets one hell of a hammering. Okay, let's start off with some of the big picture numbers on this bike. Travel-wise, it's got 170mm travel front and rear. The frame is made out of alloy in both the front triangle and on the swinging arm. Looking at the figures on this bike, Olly rides a size large, and that means it's got a 455mm reach, 455mm chainstay as well. The wheelbase is 1240 and the bottom bracket drop about -12. So that means that bike is really gonna corner well because of that low bottom bracket height. Okay, so what else we've got? Well, we've got a 65-degree head angle and a 75-degree seat angle, which means that bike is gonna be great on climbing and descending. Of course, now the key part of this bike is the heart, and we've got a Shimano E8000 steps motor on this bike. And it's really compact, which means that Focus have been able to make a real classic 170 geometry to this bike with no compromises. Battery-wise, we're looking at a 378 internal unit here. Look how neat that is, amazing. But Olly's got the option of bolting on an extra 378 watt-hour battery on top to give him a really good range to this bike. I mean, he could be out all day with 2 batteries. Suspension-wise, he's got some custom units on this bike. X-Fusion sweep up front, which is 170mm travel. He's got compression and rebound adjust, and yeah, it's a custom tuned unit. On the back here, we have an O2 Pro RCX, and this bike is actually quite linear in its nature, but Olly's got a custom tune on it to give him a bit more support when he's hitting those big booters, I guess. Right, the wheels are Wilkins specials. We've got Reynolds TR36Es. So these are prototype e-bike wheels, which means they're really strong and robust. They can deal with the extra power that motor's putting through the cranks and through the back cassette there. So Olly tells me that there's 5 individual bearings in this hub and 36 points of contact, which means it's really quick engaging, but crucially, it's really robust. 36mm internal width on this carbon rim, 32 spokes, both front and back. Now, shod to this custom wheel set are some Kenda Honey Badger tyres. They're obviously soft compound because Wilkins does a load of descending. Pretty much like a downhill tyre, but they're rated at above 50 kilometers an hour. But we'll have a chat with Olly about that a little bit later. Chainset wise, we've got a Shimano crank there, 170mm travel. I'm sure he'll be swapping those out to kind of 165s in the future, I have no doubt. And then we've got SRAM EX1 drivetrain, so that's 8 speed. Heading on to the brakes, I'm quite surprised that Olly's actually got a 180 rotor on the back, but then again, I guess he doesn't do much braking anyway. And up front is a 200mm rotor. Now, Olly is actually using SRAM code RSC brakes, which have got a ton of power. So that's gonna definitely anchor him up when he's coming in from 30 foot in the air. So yeah, good braking system on this bike. Olly's got a DMR Wing bar up front, measuring 780mm, and that's alloy, along with the Defy 35mm stem. Now, I'm gonna go into the kind of setup of his bike up front when I have a chat with Olly later. But also he's got some of his colleagues' finishing parts here, such as the Deathgrip grips and the DMR Vault pedals. And here he is, the man himself, Olly Wilkins. Olly Wilkins?
Yeah, that'll do, yeah.
What's your middle name, Olly?
Michael.
Oliver Michael Wilkins.
After Michael Jordan.
Right, okay. Olly, 170mm travel, all action. I forgot to mention a few critical points on this bike. I mean, I went through all the boring detail.
Yeah.
Is it boring detail?
No, I don't think so. You made it exciting.
Let's go to super boring detail. Seat post.
Yes.
What have we got?
We got X-Fusion Manic. It's 150mm of drop.
And what have you got on top there?
That's a stage 1 saddle by DMR.
Right, okay. Now, what I forgot to mention earlier is look at these shrouds here, which the kind of internal cable routing goes through. That's a super nice touch.
That is cool,
So do you want to tell us why they're there?
So they're actually there as air scoops as well.
Scoops?
Because the battery is internal to the frame.
Keep it cool?
That's right, yeah.
Olly, you must have been excited to get hold of this bike, right?
Big time, yeah, big time. I've been on the 140 for a year now, which is like the 2029 version, the Jam Squared.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was super excited to get on the big mountain version.
So tell us what you do on this bike.
So this bike's quite a stressful bike for me because it basically, it means I'm going out on a training ride with World Cup racers.
So these are your friends in high places, right?
That's right. Yeah, they probably don't want me. They probably don't want me name dropping them to e-bike riders, do they?
Well, maybe we won't bring that up then. Why are they so precious about not saying that they're e-bike riders?
I don't know. I'm only messing with you. It's Brendan and Bernard, basically.
There you go.
Yeah.
So tell us about these rides. high intensity runs in turbo mode, right?
That's right. Yeah, we do the whole ride in turbo mode, and it's basically built around the length of a battery.
Right.
So we do a full battery, and they're not very social rides. We don't really talk. We're doing race runs.
High heart rate.
That's right. We're not stopping when we get up to the top. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're honestly some of the most intense rides I've been on.
And you know your training rides, right?
What, sorry?
And you know your training rides, right?
Oh man, yeah, big time. Big
time.
So
tell us kind of roughly the sort of run you'd be doing. You'd be doing what, 3,000 feet and 6 runs because you're in the Surrey Hills or what?
Yeah, in the Surrey Hills, I can't think what it'd be. Basically, we're doing kind of like minute-long descents, but we're doing them straight into the climbs. So the climbs is, let's say, 7 to 10 minutes, a minute-long descent, but then no stopping in between. And turbo the whole time. So.
Now, let's talk about some of the detail on this bike because, like, as you said, high intensity rides, which means the components of this bike are going to be pretty tough. So this wheel set is quite interesting. It's a prototype wheel set, but it's an e-bike wheel set, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's e-bike specific, which sounds, you know...
Well, there's not many e-bike specific wheels out there, to be honest.
No,
so
that's it.
It's great that people are doing them.
Yeah, too right, because think of the amount of extra power that you're putting through the hub.
Yeah.
It seems ridiculous that we get away with it on others, really.
Yeah, plus you're going to be coming in from 30 foot up, right?
Yeah, yeah, we've got some jumpy trails. Yeah, we got a lot of jumpy trails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are e-bikes made for jumping those kind of distances?
I don't have a problem. Do you know what? I would rather ride a massive jump on my e-bike than my normal bike. Just it's so stable.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
What kind of distances are we talking?
I don't know. Let's get it going. Another video, Steve. We've got to stave them.
Hey, I love this button here. That's a nice touch, isn't it?
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it? Yeah.
Cool, yeah. Suspension. Now, this bike is actually quite linear out of the box. Custom units, right, from X-Fusion?
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to keep the suspension the same tune as I run on my normal bike, which obviously I ride the most.
Yeah, yeah.
However, that said, I move around loads on my normal bike. I do little gaps, hops, this and that. On this, it's kind of, I've set my suspension up way more functional. I sit way further into the sag. And yeah, I really run this bike like my race bike, which is kind of stupid. I don't race, but this is the stress bike, this one.
And what you got to remember, this bike, we weighed this bike earlier, came in at 21.4 kilograms. So it's actually one of the lightest e-bikes out there. So I can imagine it's quite maneuverable, especially those lightweight carbon wheels as well. So thanks for joining us. If you want to see any more videos on e-bikes, particularly downhill versus e-bike, click up here. And one we recently did on uplift versus e-bike, it's a classic. Get to watch that one down there. Don't forget you can like, share and subscribe to EMBN.